Rebecca. And I guess you just want to, for people that are maybe watching on TV or et cetera, just reiterate what's going on, what
So
happened?
currently, right now, we have low-pressure sodium bulbs, and we had the opportunity where the vendor and the manufacturer who supplies these bulbs will be going and stop producing these type of fixtures for our city street lighting. And this is city street lighting that's high voltage, so we have approximately 94% of our street lighting that is still on the system. Because these low-pressure fixtures will be, non-produced in the future, we have to stock up, and find other alternatives. And that alternatives is low voltage, parallel circuitry. We currently are doing this during engineering CIP projects since approximately maybe 2002, 2005, and that's usually one or two streets at a time. And we are not going to get to our goal of about 75 different circuits with one or two streets every year. So we need to, I guess, come out with a plan, and that will be with the committee of the whole meeting in a couple of weeks that Public Works will propose some options.
So we'll see, we'll be within the 10-year span, right? I mean, they will try to put the package together, right?
For the low-pressure sodium bulbs that we purchased here, it's for extension of about 6 years. But to do and to convert the 75 or 76 circuits, we're looking at about 76 years. The way we are doing it now is one circuit per year. So we have to, quadruple our efforts here. So
But I do believe there is some benefits in regard that we have some internet service companies which they'll be installing some their own.
Maybe.
Yeah.
We're gonna
Maybe.
invest.
Maybe, it's not sure, I mean,
They'll be bringing that to us.
yeah, that's right, maybe.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that stuff will be
That's something
presented
in the
tonight. All we're
future,
doing
yes.
is authorizing them to purchase the bulbs.
Yeah.
Move for approval.
Second,
And moved by Alderman Lysick, seconded by Alderman Vitale. Any further discussion?
Mr. Chair,
Yep.
are
Alderman.
there any grants available for this project?
At this time, I haven't seen any type of grant,
There
but we
might-
are still looking.
There might be some crime prevention type grants. We're gonna have our consultant look at the options. Maybe there is one for that. So, sure.
It's a great deal of money
Mhm.
to make that change. Thank you.
Any further discussion? Been approved by Alderman, moved by Alderman Lysick, seconded by Alderman Vitale. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Number 12, resolution authorizing the city engineer to amend existing agreement with Barbentos Design and Consulting for the architecture consultant services related to integrating city hall functions into a combined municipal complex where both Public Works and City Hall operate from one location under one consolidated building structure in the amount not to exceed $11,000, and authorizing and directing the appropriate city officials to execute budget amendment to transfer the necessary funds for this work.
Move to approve.
Second.
Moved by Alderman Rainey, seconded by Alderman Lysick. Any further discussion? A quick,
We just want to investigate if there would be any economies of scale, if we, City Hall needs a lot of work too. Would it make sense to have City Hall, Public Works maybe in the same place? As long as we're looking at Public Works, we just wanted to do a quick study to see, we could probably save on some staff that are overlapping, save on some space that would be overlapping, like, lunchroom or some of those rooms that are in both that would need to have two if it was all together. So just want to look at some things like that.
the one question I would have is I know that we have a consultant right now looking at the new Public Works facility or redoing it. And at that same time, that report, I think, is coming out within a month?
Yes, yeah,
2 weeks?
yeah.
So before we would do this study,
Well, he's doing it at the same time.
he's
doing
going to
all-
do them both?
Yeah,
at
both at
once.
once, same
My
time.
question would be, I know that they
Yeah.
were looking at possibly combining engineering and public
Yeah,
works
yeah.
into the new public works facility,
That would
which would make this,
sense, right.
um,
So he's just gonna do it all at once and
Okay.
look at all our options.
all right, so it's an additional 11,000 to have them do that part. Very good. Moved by Alderman Ranky, seconded by Alderman Lysick. Is there further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, carried.
Thank you.
Number 19, resolution granting a privilege encroachment major to new owner, owner S. Sarah LLC for the property located at 979 South 60th Street.
Move for approval.
Second.
Moved by Alderman Lysick, seconded by Alderman Whitenhour. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, carried. Number 20, resolution authorizing the city engineer to file applications for grants or loans available with the Wisconsin Department of Natural Resources.
Move to approve.
Moved by Alderman Ranky,
Second.
second on that by, was that Lysick?
Yeah, whatever.
Alderman Lysick. Further discussion?
This is, a DNR wants a plan from us every 5 years on how we're gonna, reduce pollution. So we're gonna apply, this is to apply for a grant to do the plan. So that's all this is to authorize me to apply for a grant at this time. So we'll see if we get it.
Any further discussion? Moved by Alderman Ranky, seconded by Alderman Lysick. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, carried. Number 21, resolution authorizing and directing the city engineer to enter into a state municipal agreement for a highway improvement project with Wisconsin Department of Transportation for design, construction, and other related work on the reconstruction of signalized intersections of West Lincoln Avenue at South 84th Street, South 76th Street, and South 71st Street.
Move for approval.
Second.
Moved by Alderman Lysick, seconded by Alderman Vitale. Further discussion?
This is $1.3 million from the federal government. These are our most dangerous intersections. 76th and Lincoln has 131 accidents, 50 injuries. That's a lot of people getting hurt. So we're gonna try and squeeze in some left turn lanes, put in new signals. The signals are old anyway. So they're paying for all that. And then 84th Street's like our fourth most dangerous intersection. And then 71st Street is also in the top 20. So this is a grant from the feds because they recognize these were very dangerous intersections and they want to help us promote safety, so.
Any further discussion?
What's number one?
76 and Lincoln is number 1. 84th and Lincoln is number 3.
76.
I can't list all the rest for you, but a lot of them on Lincoln were bad. We are actually applying for another grant for 92nd and Lincoln because that one's pretty bad too. But that's not part of this one.
What is it with Lincoln that?
There's no left turn lanes. It's a 4-lane road and, you turn left and they don't expect it. It's a lot of rear ends. So if you can squeeze a left turn lane in, maybe have a left turn arrow, it would be safer.
76 going west, you got that little
Yeah,
rise
yeah,
coming down.
Yeah, so, we won't eliminate all accidents because there's gonna be dumb drivers, but, if we can get it down so that 50 people aren't getting injured every, 5 years, that's a lot of people.
Any further discussion? Moved by Alderman Lysick, seconded by Alderman Vitale. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Number 22, I'm going to read the beginning and the end. Request from the West Allis Bid District Improvement, requesting barricades, flashing lights for setup for
Move for
West
approval.
Allis Olive
Second.
Cart.
Second.
Was that Lysick?
Yeah.
White votes.
Alderman Lysick, seconded by Alderman Vitale. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Take 23 and 24 together. I'm not going to read these out. This was on the public hearings tonight. They're
Move for
the,
approval.
I'll second it.
okay, moved by, who, was that Lysick again?
Yeah.
Alderman Lysick, seconded by Alderman Vitale. Alderman Vitale?
Yeah, I have a question in reference of the, person lives on 59th Street. Maybe she would like to readdress again? Well, yes, was,
2113 South 59.
so,
Oh, do I want to readdress?
yes, because based on the fact that you said, the city, is doing whatever they have to follow, there's no, closed door, you guys doing things on closed door. I ask you to come down and listen to us, So that's my,
And we're on TV.
so I want you, if you oppose the project, you have the rights to do that,
Right, but I don't ultimately, I'm the one who gets to approve it.
Vince, I'm sorry, but in a committee meeting, we don't have interactions.
I know,
That is the time of the
but I give it
public
the
hearing.
courtesy.
You
for-
did, you
I did, you know,
And
so,
we heard what she said.
yes.
And everybody, first of all, when everybody spoke at the public hearing, not one person spoke that said this did not need to be done.
It doesn't need to be done.
So it obviously needs to be done.
No,
So,
it doesn't.
the other point is that everybody in the city at some point has paid for an assessment. Everybody in the city. And at some point, everybody in the city is going to pay for
But I can't
another
afford it.
assessment. And, we have to keep the roads, have to keep them safe.
They're
We
fine.
have to keep them
They're
open.
fine.
So,
Sidewalks fine, roads
is
are
there any
fine.
further discussion with the
I'm
committee?
not paying for that.
Yeah, Mr. Chair, I was specific with her to explain that. Mr. Daniel did explain, in case of the hardship, there is places where
What do people do?
he or she can go to apply for any assistance, right, at the housing department.
For this, for the home improvement stuff?
Yes.
The housing office has assistance for the
Yeah.
special assessment? I don't think
I don't
they
think so.
cover, yeah.
Now, no, that.
It has to
I
be on
said
private property.
The other improvements, they probably should get some help.
There's assistance there, yes.
Any further discussion from the committee? So it's items number 23 and 24, moved by Alderman Lysick, second by Alderman Vitale. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
Fuck you guys.
Carried.
Fuck you. Yeah, all of you.
With
You
that,
don't live here.
with that,
You don't live on my fucking street.
with that, Public Works is done, and we'll turn the meeting over to Alderman Lysick, Chairman
Safety and
of-
development will come to order.
Unbelievable. Unbelievable.
First item on the agenda is item 25. This is a resolution declaring West Allis a la carte scheduled for June 2nd, 2019, between noon and 6 p.m. as a community event.
Move to approve.
It's
Second.
been moved by Alderman Ranky, seconded by Alderman Barzak. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Item 26 on your agenda is a resolution authorizing a transfer of Wisconsin Department of Natural Resources deed restriction on McKinley Park to Clents Park, which will require that Clents Park shall not be converted to uses inconsistent with public outdoor recreation without approval of this department. Mr. Stiebel, would you like to explain this a little, just so people
We
understand it?
got a $200,000 grant from DNR about 20 years ago. As part of the condition of that grant, they put a deed restriction on McKinley Park that it had to be used for outdoor recreation. And so now we want to consider selling it. So if we do or don't, we can remove that deed restriction, gives us some flexibility to do something, and it goes on to Clinton Park. So it does not do anything to the status of McKinley Park, it just removes the deed restriction.
It's been moved by Alderman Whitemeyer, seconded by Alderman Vitale. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Item 27 and 28, we'll run these together. 27 is a resolution to release the city of West Allis reacquisition rights for 3 parcels that comprise of McKinley Park with various tax key numbers. And item 28 would be a resolution approving the city of West Allis' reacquisition rights for these same 3 parcels. So one, we're releasing it, one, we're approving it. I guess we want to place the reacquisition to release on file and say we want to reacquire, correct?
It's up to the committee at this point in time to decide that, yes.
Mr. Stiebel?
Mr. Chairman, that's what the department is recommending, is that we require it. And then, depending if you want to do it now or later or never, if you could transfer our rights to West Allis East LLC, and then we would be done with that. However, as the advice of counsel, we're suggesting that we might want to do something a little bit different, so that if it doesn't close, we haven't done anything. We haven't given our rights away or whatever. So whether we make it subject to further approval or subject to the development director and the city attorney concurring that now's the time to do that, or to put it into escrow, I'm not sure how you want to handle this whole park issue yet. I mean, I'm not sure we've.
Mr. Chair, can we,
Pleasure.
yeah, can we hold it for,
No, I think we have to move forward on
we have
this
to move
one or
forward
the
with that,
other.
eh?
Correct?
If we want to continue the closing portion of this.
Yeah.
But I would suggest that we not make it automatic, because we still want to talk to the school board.
Yes.
because
Yes.
Our position is they still have some obligation to us, and they haven't shown us why they don't, until such time that we feel comfortable with that, something along that line, but as long as we have myself and the city attorney, you know, the chair of the president of the common council, we don't care who has that right, but that gives us some flexibility to continue negotiation with the school board, but yet try to beat the deadline that we all want, and that's closing by the end of this month.
Mr. Chairman?
You don't want?
So, and I think that same direction was given in the meeting of committee of the whole. And, but in this particular case, this is strictly for us to purchase the park back, correct? For us to, or to start proceeding to purchase?
Right. Item 27 would say that we want to place it on file, and that's the resolution if we want to leave the property with the school district. So that's releasing our reacquisition rights. Item 28 is approving our reacquisition rights and telling the school district that, yes, we want to reacquire this back for $1.
Correct.
And it would be subject, not automatically, but subject to approval between development and the city attorney's office.
Is that in here, or is it, do we have to add that
We
amendment?
need to add that.
Okay.
Now,
So you need a motion to amend? Correct? And the exact wording was?
Just subject to approval between development and the city attorney's office to language that effectuates the intent.
I move as stated.
I'll second.
It's
So-
been moved and seconded that the resolution be amended to make it subject to approval of the city attorney and the Department of Development's office. Any discussion on the amendment? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
26?
And then on the
Mr.
motion as a whole?
Mr. Chairman.
Yes.
If we want to assign our right then to West Quarter East LLC, we could do that now, or we could hold it for further discussion. What is your pleasure? Is there another council? Well,
So the,
There isn't another, well, yeah, there is one more council meeting before the end of the month.
yeah, but if you, I would like to suggest that we approve this. Now we have all the tools that you don't have to beat against, but we.
So you want another amendment to say,
That the city hereby approves assigning its rights, title, and interest in and to the right to repurchase the parcels to West Quarter East LLC.
is that part of the original resolution that was put in the packet?
No,
Okay.
this is.
so it's another amendment.
Yes. Now, what that does is that says that we could sell, we're gonna buy the park back, and then we're gonna assign our interest to that purchase to Cobalt, effectively.
Yeah.
Well,
Now, but the First Amendment says we're gonna hold it until Kyle and I concur with you guys to make sure that's what we really wanna have happen. But now we've got the flexibility without a meeting.
Okay.
and it's technically, I believe, that would be to assign the right without ever entering the chain of title again.
Correct.
That's how that amendment would work. So if it works out later on that it makes more sense to assign that right to someone else, then we would be authorized to do that. We wouldn't be required to do any of these things, but it would be authorized to do
Authorized
so.
to do it.
Assigning that right to Cobalt.
Correct, one of their development LLCs.
Okay.
Is that for item number 27?
28.
Still on 28.
Still on 28. This is the second amendment to 28.
Okay.
And John, I'm gonna need those up there because I'm sure there's gonna be questions from the council as to what are these amendments.
Yes.
I'll rewrite this. But the Second Amendment would be authorizing the Director of Development, subject to approval of the city attorney, to assign the city's rights and interests.
Is there a motion for that
I'll
amendment?
make a motion on the, as stated.
Been moved by Alderman Vitale,
Second.
seconded by Alderperson Ranky on amendment number 2. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. And then item 28, as amended twice. Is there a motion for approval?
So moved.
Moved by Vitale, seconded by Ranky. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
Mr. Chairman, who
Carried.
moved the First Amendment?
First one, I did.
I
Yeah,
did,
Carrie?
yeah.
Gary seconded it?
I
Vince.
did, I did.
Chair, it's a little difficult to hear in the audience. We couldn't hear a lot of the, I know it's recorded, but we couldn't hear
Okay.
John. So
You want me to read the amendment again?
if, yeah, I'd be curious. I'm
Okay.
sorry, we couldn't hear.
yes,
Okay.
please. Yes,
Sure.
please.
Sorry.
As a general matter, the resolution said they were going to approve the reacquisition rights subject to approval from the city attorney and development, and then also the alternative of the authority to assign the city's right to reacquire the property to an LLC that is a part of the Cobalt Development Group. So both of those were approved, obviously in the alternative and subject to city attorney and development department approval.
This will give us the opportunity to further discuss with the school board, fully understand how this is supposed to, their obligation, and so we understand that.
Does this offer protection for the city?
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you.
Then item 27 is the resolution to release our reacquisition rights, which is contrary to 28, so this would be to place this on file.
Move to place on file.
Second.
Moved by Ranky, seconded by Barzak. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Item 29 and item 30, this is a resolution to determine special use for Unico, a proposed entertainment venue at 1900 South 60th Street, and the special use permit.
Mr. Chairman, I think you suggested that we
Yep.
add a clause in there.
This is version 2. Is that in this document here?
I'm not sure yet. No, I don't think it is. No, it's probably this, trying to make it. Yeah.
Okay, so
Yeah,
we
it's,
have,
it's in there, but not worded.
not worded the same. Okay, let's take this then. Then we'd be looking, this is for approval of that venue on 60th Street. And this would be, the amendment would be that security staff on premise after 9 PM during business operation hours.
That was my,
That was Alderman Vitale's request at the last meeting. So is there a motion for the amendment?
Just to clarify, how many security staff?
Doesn't say, just says security staff.
One member of security be sufficient?
two.
It doesn't say that.
No, we just said,
It said security
One.
staff.
we
Oh,
told,
security staff, so it could be,
Could be one, could be two.
Could be two, yeah.
Whatever is required.
okay.
if they have an unruly house.
Obviously, if they have a full house, then they're gonna need more.
Yeah.
Their best interest, and I think. the other
Whatever,
ones-
they
wants
need,
to make
they
this
need enough
work.
security
Or
staff.
if there's
to-
any problem, we can always revoke the license.
Not true.
Well, it's harder to
More
revoke once they have it.
The more specificity you can provide, the better.
Yes.
So having security staff, one person would likely satisfy that regardless of the people involved, just as a heads up.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman?
Yeah.
Now, my understanding is also we could make amendments to number of people that could be allowed.
For a special use permit, you'd have to articulate what the issues were as far as, is it the volume of people that would cause traffic or public safety issues, or you just have to articulate what that reason would be and then propose that?
Which I'll expand on that also, should I choose to, because right now I'm still in to deny the whole thing. Number one, we know that, factual, that the people were looking for alternative places to park. So they went to the bowling alley, I guess they went over to the dinette, which is causing me to believe, when we had issues in the past with people leaving that particular place and going across the street to get their cars and were unruly, et cetera. And I don't see, with this particular use, I don't see anything really changing, that, you know, the bar's gonna close at 2 AM, people are gonna go to the cars, there's no parking lot, they can only park in the streets, they can only park on other people's property, whether it be the bowling alley or dinette or wherever, they have to go somewhere, so they have to cross the street. We're gonna have an extreme increase in traffic. So now you have people crossing the intersections, you're gonna have dangerous activity going on, and I still don't see that this is a proper use for that particular location. Even with the security guard, I think that's telling you that there's gonna be mass of people. If you're, coming out to say, I need a security guard there, that's telling me right off the bat that there's gonna be a lot of people. And I just think what has happened in the past for the disturbance of the neighborhood, the disturbance of the particular intersection, I just don't see that this is gonna be a proper use for that particular location.
Mr. Chair, I've been in that area for a long time, 25 years,
63 for me, so.
63 for you. But I mean, just in that particular area.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's only.
I live here
that's only 5
54
miles
years.
west.
So the question stands that, being alderman from the district, I never really, in fairness, complaints from the neighbor in reference of the parking issue. Some of the issue was the occurrence that happened on the outside, which is still the licensee holder was responsible for the fact what really happened. But the questions that is, it comes with the bowling alley, we had a killing there, somebody got killed, just the same thing, the bowling alley is still there yet. So the way I look at it, based on the past, what really occurred in that location, fine, there was some disturbances, but we can count really the disturbance in that bar by the fingers, really, 4 or 5 times. So which 4 or 5 times is too much for me, just as well. But the fact is that I'm not going to make a corner of that street there has a blight neighborhood, which the way I think, if those people, the new applicant, if they do anything which they will violate the license, we can revoke the license, really. But I'm not going to use the term discriminating against anyone they come forward to apply for their locations. If they have a clean records, which I understand they do, the previous place where they operate their business, I don't think was any records.
I don't know, was there, Mr. Decker, you were gonna check on that?
I did not talk to the police department about that at all.
You didn't?
No.
But based on some information that I have, they run a good straight business, and I understand they're gonna be for weddings and some the parties, that I believe that location it can house, I believe, about 70 people. I think that's a limit for that building, or the hall to have for a party. So to me, I feel it's my district, and I'll support that. Parking, also it's an issue because it's all part of the city, which there's no parking structures. Today, if you're going outside the boundary of West Allis, well, you have more space, more parking, but we part of the whole town. So if somebody else comes and say, I want to put a restaurant here, are we going to deny them because the fact that there's no parking? I don't think we can do that. By state statute, I don't think we can do that. We can deny somebody a liquor license by provide, say, food, provide a restaurant service. I don't think we can deny that, based on the fact of parking. I don't think we can do that. To me, it applies to a discriminatory act, I believe, within our state statutes,
I spoke with Alderman Shaplesky as well, who also represents the area, and he's in favor of granting the special use and the license, as well as Alderman Vitelli. And since both aldermen in the district are in favor of it, I'm gonna be supportive of it.
Just to clarify for the record too, there was an amendment for the 9 o'clock security that I don't believe was.
We didn't act on that yet.
Okay.
Exactly.
Mr. Chair,
Oh,
this location always had bars that had problems. The neighborhood was always complaining about the patrons leaving the bar. And also of the noise that was occurring at the bar. My question, I guess, is the potential owner of this bar, if he becomes the owner, has he had experience with another bar? Has he run another bar that has?
You wanna,
I'm not sure.
wanna address her question?
Yes, so previously I was here last time, and I.
Could you talk a little louder for
Sorry,
me?
so
Thank you.
previously, I was here last time, and I did have
Yes.
another business in the Milwaukee area under Alderman Wikoyak at that time. And I did run the business, and it was in the corner, like around, in between Bruce and Pierce, 6th and National. The area is really like bad because there's a lot of businesses around.
Where was this
There's,
located?
like around 6th and National.
Sixth and National, okay.
I don't remember the actual district, but the actual alderman at that time was with Koyak, and I didn't have any issues there.
And why did you vacate that bar?
It was just like as the same time now. I only had I had my only like I had a job, and at that time it was only me doing like running the whole business. Now I have a partner. He's here with me, and I'm just trying to do the same, but down now we have more help to do what I envisioned to do last time.
So it must have been years ago that.
Yes,
How many years ago was that?
like that was like 4 years ago.
4 years ago. I see. At your bar, what kind of music do you plan on?
For this one, it's going to be
Yes.
totally different because that was run as a bar. It was like all week, like, from, I think we were closed Mondays, but it was Tuesday and all the way. This time, we're not going to be, we're not going to be opening every day for this location. It's just going to be, I don't know if you guys ever went to Warehouse in the Milwaukee area. So it's going to be something similar. It's going to be just catered to professional, that's our market, middle-class professional people that would like to get some taste of Latin music, and that's what we're hoping to get there. It's not going to be something like just like it was before. I heard it was just hip-hop. It's not necessarily just going to be hip-hop. It's not going to be that type of stuff over there.
So salsa dancing, is that
Yes,
basically?
it's going to be like Fridays. We're going to have instruction, like instructor for dances, and so. Yes,
You
that's
plan
part of
on
it.
serving food?
Not at the moment, but we're planning on doing a lot of stuff. If you guys give us the opportunity, we're planning on doing more stuff, if it comes the way to do anything else. We're planning on doing more stuff, but at this moment, I don't think we can, but, we're hoping to expand more because the location is really big. So we like to do more stuff as appropriate. And we want to work with the city, whatever you guys need to make this happen, just let us know. Because all we want is just the opportunity to open and then see what happens after that.
Did you have any problems at the previous bar?
No, I did not.
No.
No.
Thank you.
There was a proposed security after 9 o'clock limitation. If that was imposed as a condition, would you accept?
And that's the thing, like, prior to even the security mentioning, we thought of having security because no matter what, it's not West Allis, is everywhere. You need security because nowadays, how the world is, you never know what's gonna happen. Or even right here, something could happen. It's everything that is happening on the news. You never know when something's gonna happen. So the best thing is to have security no matter what. So we were gonna have security regardless of you guys saying that was a condition or not.
Very good.
When a person owns a bar, can you regulate what kind of music they play?
I would generally advise against it.
Pardon me?
I would generally advise against it.
Okay.
You can regulate
I
the
didn't know
time
if it
of
was
play
proper.
or the volume, but I'd advise against the type.
I hope you attract, if you get this, I hope you attract good people.
That's what I'm hoping.
And we will, to act to, what you guys were saying about security, we will hire, a security company that will take care of everything, at all times. And, I can assure you guys that it's gonna be like that at all times of operations.
I'm sorry, who are you?
He's my partner.
And what's your background? Your background, is it in the bar
I
industry?
mean, yeah, I was the one that applied for the license.
Okay.
And I was the one that was granted.
Okay, and what is your background? Is your background in hospitality, bar?
I mean, I don't, I don't have that, experience, but that's why I have my partner here combined with his experience.
Mr. Chair, I'd just like to say one other thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, I just don't know if this is the direction that the neighborhood should go, it should move in. The east end needs a bit of help, it needs some turnaround. It's very densely populated with a lot of neighborhoods, and I worry about that. Not to mention, as I said before, the mayor is spending $55,000 on a group to come in to find out how we can better the neighborhood. And I just don't know if this is the direction this neighborhood should go in.
Just to make sure too, did you want to close the floor so the gentleman can sit down?
Yeah, thank you. Alderman Shapuski.
Just so you know, both Alderman Talley and myself, all of our district, and went through all of those other businesses are in favor of this, and we already voted for the license, based on all the information we had at the time and we're the ones that are gonna have to put up with the phone calls and the guff when it comes time, if there's any problems, which they guarantee me there's not gonna be any.
Okay, there's been an amendment to add, to make sure as a stipulation that the security staff shall be on the premise after 9 PM during business hours. You're moving that?
Yeah, I'm moving
Is there a
that.
second on the amendment? I'll second the amendment. Any discussion? All in favor of the amendment, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Amendment passes. Then on the motion as amended. Is there a motion?
Sure move, Mr. Chair.
Been moved by Vitale. Is there a second? I'll second it for discussion.
Just for final discussion, Mr. Chairman, I'm gonna vote no on it, and I had my reasons stated. I think that, in the past, that particular location has proved, to cause problems with people leaving. Again, there's no parking. So as the people leave, they either have to go into the neighborhood, they gotta go onto the streets, they gotta cross to go over to, other private property, parking lots or something like that. And, that has not worked out in the past, and I don't believe it's gonna work in the future. And for those reasons, I'm gonna be voting no for safety reasons, for, again, the spill out of the people, et cetera.
On,
I'm sorry, I'll be voting no as well for the reasons why I stated.
okay. On the motion, all in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion fails. Is there a motion then to place it on file?
I move to place on file.
Well, actually, you don't have to. You killed it. And so we bring it out as a no. And we'll see what the,
Just to clarify for the record, it would either be a motion to deny, since there is a application for a special use permit, it'd be great to have a finality.
so you, okay, so you want a motion for denial?
So moved.
Been moved by Barzak to deny, to disapprove. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Alderperson Ranky. Any discussion? I think this would be an appropriate time to state the reasons for denial for the record, correct?
They've all been stated already,
You've got-
so
you've
just
got
more of
a
a
record of it?
formality of making sure there's an affirmative vote one way or another.
Okay. All in favor of placing this, of disapproving and placing on file, say aye.
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 Opposed? No.
No.
Motion carries. And then to place the special use application on file. Is there a motion to place it on file?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
No.
Let's just place the application on file.
Well, that's all right.
You want no?
No, yes.
Okay. Four to one. Then we have item 31 and 32. This is a special use for the State Fair liquor store on 9127 West Lincoln. Is there a motion?
Move approval.
Is there a second? I'll second it.
I'll second it.
You gonna second?
Yeah.
Okay.
Either way.
Seconded by Alderperson Barzak, and this is for also the permit. I'll just say a few words. It was a Quickie Mart and a liquor store in the past. They had their, went out of business, and the license was eaten up by somebody else, and now someone else is looking to go in there and put a license back in there. I talked to, there was, in deference to the people that live down the block on 92nd Street, there was another liquor store, Parthenon, on 92nd in Cleveland, right by the junior high that closed about 6 months ago. They had a liquor license. There are not robberies. I checked with the police department, and the store on 84th in Cleveland was not robbed. They went back 5 years. There was a robbery reported at the one on 76th and Oklahoma. The only reason they called it a robbery was a couple of guys walked in, each took a bottle of booze, threatened the clerk and said, if you do anything, we're gonna get your, whatever, to threaten violence on them. So they just walked out of the store with a couple, it really was shoplifting, but they called it robbery because he threatened the clerk. So, according to Deputy Chief Fletcher, liquor stores have not been a target of robberies in West Allis.
Mr. Chairman, I know the owner's here, I believe, and the one request I had is, he's gonna be calling it something liquor and food. I don't know if we can ask the owner if he would change that around the other way and call it food and liquor, if he,
Yeah, I can do
would you do that?
Food and liquor?
food and liquor.
Put food first and then liquor, because my understanding is you're gonna be serving sandwiches and you're gonna have like a cold deli, et cetera, in there.
Yep.
So, yeah, that,
And with the robbery on 84th in Cleveland, it was just implied gun. It was a shoplifting event also.
That was 76 in Oklahoma, but there was no robbery on 84th in Cleveland.
But they did have a scuffle in there with an implied gun.
But there was no robbery.
No.
Okay, with that being said, any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Thank each and every one of you very much.
Items 33 and 34 on your agenda, this is a special use relative to 1606 84th Street for
Move for
the
approval.
pizza place. Been moved and seconded. Any discussion? Alderman Weigel mentioned prohibiting liquor, but I don't think they have a liquor license, do they?
Not yet.
Oh, so I think at the time they get the liquor license, that's the time to put the restriction on. You're on the committee, so,
yeah, and then
okay.
we try it.
Any further discussion then? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, carried. Items 35 and 36 on your agenda is a special use for 7412 Greenfield for the catering
Move
service.
to approve. Second.
Moved by Whitener, seconded by Ranky. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Is there anything else to come before the committee?
Not this time, Mr. Chair.
Not,
Move to
we are
adjourn.
adjourned.
Your turn.
Yeah, I was gonna leave.
Okay, good night.
It is, well, there's the thermostat.